18th regular meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Here.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Here.
Councilman McPartlin.
Here.
Councilwoman Weber.
Here.
Supervisor Syed.
Here. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Excuse me. Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. Would you like to lead us, Councilwoman?
Oh, I would love it. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Before we get going, we are going to do our ceremonial resolution first.
And if I could just, before we start,
Yep.
it's certainly apropos. I think everyone in this room knows that we lost a member of our town hall family last week, very unexpectedly, Paul Hauser, who is really the heart and soul of our transfer station, our recycling center. The residents all love him. He really just was a gentle giant who really led that place and took very good care of every resident who ever stepped foot in our recycling center, and really cared about his fellow employees, was always advocating for them and what's going on over there, and he will be missed sorely. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you very much for taking the time to say that. I agree. Prayers go out to his family during this very difficult time, and he will be missed. So we are going to proceed to our ceremonial resolution right now. It is Resolution 2018-337. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution honoring William Lee for his years of service to the town of Niskayuna.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to present that with Mr. Lee, if possible.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It is. How are we doing, Mr. Lee? Very good, thank you. Come on up. I've had the pleasure of working with William Lee for the past 5 years, but he has been here for 40 years, serving continuously for the town of Niskayuna for 40 years. He's been on the Conservation Advisory Council for all 40 of those years, I believe, but 35 he has served as the chairman of that. And that is a very important committee in the town. All of our committees are important, but that really is of great importance, especially during the years that William served, because there was a lot of large development projects going on that he had a direct hand in shaping. And really, we are getting a lot of the benefits from Mr. Lee's work, his tireless work here in the community over the last 40 years. We've been enjoying for the last 10 or 15 at least some of our prime years here in the town of Niskayuna. So we want to make sure that William Lee's experience and understanding of the responsibilities of that advisory council, we let him know how instrumental that they've been in guiding the board through difficult and complicated environmental reviews. His capacity as council member and chairman, he treated residents and applicants with kindness and respect. He's always demonstrated the kind of excellence in service. He's served the public with a great degree of integrity and excellence, and fortunately, the town has really benefited from that. He has served with honor and distinction. His knowledge and understanding of environmental review and the environmental impacts of the development in the town will be greatly missed. It is resolved that on the 18th day of December, in recognition of 40 years of service to the town of Niskayuna, the Niskayuna Town Board offers its personal and official thanks and appreciation to William Lee, and hereby publicly commends him for his service to the town of Niskayuna. Thank you a great deal. Say a couple words.
Thank you. It's been a long run, but a rewarding one, and I really didn't recognize myself in all those glowing words, John. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Phil. Thank you.
I just want to thank Bill. In addition to what he does with the Conservation Advisory Council, he seems to make sure that he gets every month to John's Economic Development Committee meetings and really enhances the dialogue there and ensuring that things move along well. So thank you just so very much, because you wear a number of hats for a very long time, and you really made our community better. Thank you. Now, I promised he could go home for dinner, so, because Bill's not moving away, I still have to see my neighbors.
Thank you so much for coming. Best of luck, Bill. And before we move on, we'll officially take the roll on the ceremonial resolution. So will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Here.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
No. Oh, yeah, for that resolution.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
resolution passes, so congratulations, Bill. Have a wonderful night. Happy holidays. Okay, we're going to proceed with our regularly scheduled program. We're going to move on to the approval of the minutes. We have the minutes of the regular town board meeting of June 26, 2018. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
Are there any comments or changes to these minutes? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And those minutes are approved. We're now going to move on to privilege of the floor. That is now open. If you would like to speak during privilege of the floor, you can do so now. State your name and address for the record.
Yes, Bill Pompano, P-O-P-P-I-N-O, 1027 Hickory Road. I'd like to compliment the Highway Department once again. I had all kinds of pine needles, and they don't rake very well. You've got the bag and you can be whatever you
We want to make sure we hear you.
You have very important things to say about what a great job Ray Smith's doing. We have to.
That's very important. Are we plugged in?
Yes.
We're all ready to go.
Sorry about that.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Laura. Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
No, this is a comedy of errors here today.
Bill Pompano, 1027 Hickory Road. Once again, I want to compliment the Highway Department. I had a lot of pine needles that I raked up, I bagged. I put 11 bags out there in front, and Highway said that we'd pick them up within 24 hours. An hour and a half later, after I reported that, they picked them up. So they were way ahead of the game. I just thank the Highway Department so much for that kind of service.
Thank you for coming out in this
Yeah,
cold
thank
weather to
you.
tell us that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone would like to speak.
Good evening. I see you have a long agenda here, so I'll be brief if I can. My name is Bill Chapman, 1465 Clifton Park Road, a member of the Complete Streets Committee, and I've enjoyed serving on it and hope I can in 2019, and I think the other committee members would like to do the same as well. I do just wanted to take a minute to thank the town board for their support for the Town Complete Streets Committee, and also for the work that you allow our town planner, Laura Robertson, and deputy town planner, Jeff Twitty, do on the committee. They've provided a lot of good support and a lot of help and leadership for the committee. I've shared a little news clip that is from the New York Times from a couple of days ago that makes a number of very interesting points, and I'll let you take a look at it. But one of them certainly is, and I think we do it here, is that the road is not just for cars, and pedestrians and bicyclists are just impediments to getting to where you want to go, that they're part of the tax-paying public and have rights to use the roads to get where they're going. I also think that as you're learning in your service on the town board, that in life, the journey itself is at least half of the fun. So if you're walking to get to the grocery store, walking to get to school, walking or biking to get to work, that's a good thing. Many cities are doing things to retrofit themselves, which they mention here, that they're closing streets in the downtown area, so it's very walkable. Times Square is now walkable. If you've been to Montreal, they have many streets there that just closed off the cars. We have J Street in the city, and other examples where towns, the center of the city, they're just excluding the cars, and you can walk around and get where you want to go. They're also doing more bikes, more bike lanes, more pedestrian access. Some towns that actually have a town center, they may have, a little bit of our modern development has passed them by, and mercifully so, because they still have a town center and they don't want to see that get wrecked. My wife and I recently went over to Troy to enjoy the Victorian stroll, I guess they call it, which was a lot of fun. People have their costumes on, and they still have kind of a grid, so it's fun to do window shopping, walk around, really enjoy the downtown. In this unit, we don't quite have a walkable town center. We have some commercial areas, and our ability to get to some of them by walking or biking is a little bit limited. If you think about getting to Mohawk Commons on a bike or walking, especially walking if you're on State Street, we probably all have had to be careful not to run over somebody on Balltown Road if they're wearing dark clothing and they're walking on Balltown Road towards Mohawk Commons. But even the inside of places like Mohawk Commons, others, it's a little tough to get around walking or biking. And so I think it's important to think about, to the extent we have a little bit of a town center with Balltown Road and Knott Street, is how we get around walking and bicycling. When we think about walking or biking, actually using our feet to get places, I kind of think of networks that if you wanted to get to a commercial area by walking or biking, we think about, well, what does that spider web look like to get there? And I have a lot of folks that walk on Clifton Park Road to get to the co-op and those streets. But also, we look at each of our schools, and they're starting to think a little bit about, well, how can you walk to get to the school? And how can you bike to get to the school? And, if we want to get people out of cars, we want people to be healthy, then it's kind of working with our kids to get there. And if it turns out we have impediments, structural impediments to actually walking or biking to schools, that's not the best message. And also I think about our parks, the bike path, it's how to get to those, and, looking at the set of pathways to those places. And then also really just looking at our whole town. How do you get, to places so that if you decided you wanted to walk or you wanted to bike, and if you don't have the complete streets map that you're going to unfold, or you don't have it scotch taped to your wall, you might get on your own app on your phone, or you'll learn it after you've lived here for a while to see, well, how can I get where I want to go on a bike or by walking. And so in Complete Streets, we're looking at some goals for 2019, some short-run things we want to do and some longer-term things. But I think we share some of the goals that they're looking at. This article applies a lot to cities, but many of the lessons here, we don't have some of the things that big cities already have, so we don't have to worry about retrofitting, but we still have some obstacles to getting around, and we want to try to make our town very walkable and bikeable. And anyway, the town board being supportive of that mission is important to all of us on the committee, and we're grateful for your support.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Bill, what's the date on that New York Times article?
December
16th, John. You wrote it on the bottom?
Thank you.
So it's only a couple days old.
Thank you.
Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone would like to speak during privilege of the floor.
Gail King, 1633 Balltown Road. I live and work in Niskayuna. I work on Knott Street. I have Gail King Electrolysis. So I'm very interested in the project that's being proposed for Knott Street. It's being advertised as a stoplight redo for Knott Street and Balltown Road, and it is including the first block from Balltown to Clifton Park Road, which involves the businesses on the north side of Knott Street, west of Balltown. And I've been lobbying in the interest of making Niskayuna Knott Street safer. The plan as it is needs some tweaking, or a lot of tweaking in a lot of places. And so referring to that plan that calls for a parking nodule and barrier that would run from the co-op past Lang's Pharmacy. And this nodule would start, you would have to enter from Balltown Road in order to get to our businesses if you wanted to park in front of our businesses. You'd have to enter from Balltown, cross the crosswalk, and bear right and see if you can find a parking place. If you can't, then you would exit west in the Clifton Park Road area. And then you'd have to figure out how you were going to turn around and find another parking place. And you might decide to go someplace else by that time. And one of our neighbors has written a little note, and she's said that it's okay for me to read it to you. Today is Connie Nadas of Old Niskayuna, and she says having traffic enter only from Balltown is an extremely bad idea and apparently not well thought out. I have been stuck in North Street East with a green light because I could not move forward due to backup. Our community is people of all ages that need parking right in front of the stores and easy driving access to the store. I don't drive on Balltown certain times of the day due to traffic congestion. I drive to the co-op from Dean Street, shop, and return the same way. I have had several knee operations, and it was not easy to walk. I shop at co-op because I could park next to the front door and get a cart and shop. Parents with small children and slow-moving older adults need very close parking spaces. Is Schenectady County trying to drive small businesses out of this section for some other project they have in mind and are keeping it secret? So, just adding to my portfolio. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Gail. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak. Again, privilege of the floor is still open. If you would like to speak, do so now.
My name is Barbara Pigeon. I live at 46 Pine Street in Glenville, New York. I am the court clerk in the town of Niskayuna and have been so for 22 years. I would like to bring attention to a recent article that was written in the Times-Union on December 6th about the Ethics Board and the case that was closed. I was struck by the fact that Ms. McGraw knows 4 out of the 5 board members. An ethics committee is supposed to be impartial. An ethics committee didn't exist until just recently when Mr. Landry was supervisor. It's a new board. It had to be approved by the town board members. And town board members, I don't know how many of the other board members know the members of the ethics committee, but it's kind of ludicrous that the members of the ethics committee know any of the town board members or any of the people who are employees of the town of Niskayuna. Their job is to be impartial. They can't be impartial if they're making judgments against their friends. I think the town of Niskayuna board owes the town of Niskayuna residents a new ethics committee that is chosen from people who have no connection to any of the board members or any other town employees. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Barb. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Leslie Gold, 1919 Pawtucket Avenue. I just have to note that there was an ethics board many years ago, and it was continuous for many years. And then they just didn't appoint members to it, so it was reinstituted or whatever. But it was not former Supervisor Landry's idea. It had been around before then. And in a small town, I think it's inevitable people are going to know each other.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Here I am back again with a long agenda. You'll have to get the marshal to haul me out of here. Just two things quickly. One on the redevelopment of Knott Street. I'm certainly interested in that. As a member of Metroplex, I've been supportive of them adding some money to do the work. Town Complete Streets, I'm interested in safety and seeing it work for motorists and for the business owners and pedestrians to get in. And also, I lived on Clifton Park Road, so I'm probably a NIMBY too, so you've got to keep that in mind too. I did want to say on the parking, it is the case, and I think fortunate that the state's taken an interest with cars coming off of Balltown Road. They're almost the impetus of getting the grant money, 1.25 mil, something like that, to do the work, to make the changes there. And I do agree with Mrs. King that parking and traffic movement are important things to look at as part of the project, and certainly getting a left turn lane on Knott Street if you're eastbound is going to help, because one car at the beginning is not just going to back up cars in front of the co-op, that there's a left turn lane so those folks can make a left turn and the through traffic can get through. I do think in terms of being able to park in front of the co-op that that will be preserved if the preliminary plan, some of that's incorporated in the final plan, that motorists still can park in the small parking lot between the gas station and the co-op. And the one aspect of the sketch plan that was used to get the money does show that, an access on Via Del Mar, so the motorists wouldn't have to make that left turn to get into the co-op parking lot. They'd be able to go down to Via Del Mar and turn in. And also the angle parking with the bump, it has worked in other places, by Gershon's or in front of Proctor's Theater or on Erie Boulevard, that motorists will be able to turn in, angle park in front of the co-op and those businesses, so you will be able to park right in front of the store, and also load your groceries in your car without having to worry about getting run over because you're so close to the street, that if the county moves the road over a little bit, that there'll be angle parking, and then you'll be able to back up, and when you re-enter Knott Street, it will be going forward, so you can see left or right to do that. So I think those are some safety features that we'll all get a chance to look at when the county comes up with their proposed plans. And also, one footnote, having done 3 terms on the town board, I would note that the ethics board, at least when I was on the board, I knew the people that were on there just because I knew a lot of people in town, and I believe that Reverend Cutler was one of them even then. And so sometimes if it's the minister at your church or a business owner, it's hard to have people that you don't know. If you walk the town, you knock on doors, you get to know people. And so I just think it's probably pretty likely, or wouldn't be surprising, that people that would be willing to volunteer on boards like Complete Streets or any of the other voluntary boards we have, including the ethics board, that you're going to have people there that people on the town board know also. So thank you again.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak. And last call on privilege of the floor. If you'd like to speak, do so now. Okay, seeing no one else, I'm going to close privilege of the floor. We're going to move on to our committee reports. We're going to begin with Councilwoman Weber.
Let's see if the microphone is working. Thank you. We've had a delightful December so far in community programs. We had our Parents' Night Out on Friday, December 7th. We had 36 participants and 36 donations for Toys for Tots. Children made snow globes, learned how to make balloon animals from Barbara Fields, also known as BJ the Clown, and watched The Incredibles 2 in their pajamas. It was a pajama party. We had our tree lighting on the 9th. This was a great event with an estimated 200 people in attendance. Special thanks to the Highway Department for providing the tree for the lighting, which will be planted in one of our parks in the spring, and the Niskayuna High School Choir, led by Christina Pisano Catalano, who entertained us with beautiful songs. There were 86 kids who came to from the high school to participate in that. We filled a whole other box for Toys for Tots at this event, and it was sponsored by First New York Federal Credit Union, so our thanks to them. They sponsored the hot chocolate and the cookies. Our ski club dates are January 11th, 18th, 25th, February 1st, 8th, and 15th. We have 39 participants. This is our high school ski club for kids in grades 9 through 12. Any adults interested in chaperoning should call Julie Lohr. The benefit to that is that you get to ski. That's Friday nights. We did some additional goodwill and charity here at Town Hall during the holiday season. This is the first year that we had a wish tree for Things of My Very Own, which is a Schenectady nonprofit that provides needed things for children who have been removed from their parents and are staying with non-abusive relatives or are at risk for being removed because their families don't economically have enough money to purchase the things that they need to meet their basic needs. So we had a tree with wish tags here in Town Hall. We refilled those wish tags twice. The people of Niskayuna have just been incredibly generous. We also had a box collecting feminine hygiene products. We had Carolyn Screbutanis, who's a sophomore at Niskayuna High School, doing that collection, and that was for the YWCA. We had our senior meal at the senior center, our holiday meal, December 11th. The chef took care to prepare a very special meal and decorated the dining area beautifully, donating balloons and fresh flowers out of her own budget. And we had the Ladies First Choir from Niskayuna come and sing and lead the seniors in a sing-along, and they all brought little gifts for the seniors to present to them afterwards. So that was just a wonderful event. We have exercise programs starting at the senior center, continuing because we have them all year long, but these are the January ones. Most of them are free, except for Zumba Gold, but we're going to have Zumba Gold, chair moves, chair Pilates, motion and fitness, Tai Chi. They're all at niskayuna.org. And we have a gentle yoga class Thursdays at 7 o'clock here at Town Hall. That begins on January 10th. That's free. You just have to pre-register. The Zumba Gold is $4 a class. Everything else is free. It's sponsored by CDPHP, so there's no reason not to exercise. So, and that's all. Our next meeting is January 8th at 3 o'clock here at Town Hall in the Shaver Room. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilman Delarada.
Thank you, Supervisor and Councilwoman Weber. The Economic Development Historical Preservation Committee meets again Friday, January 4th. As you know, this is a committee that deals with economic development here in the town of Niskayuna, one that Mr. William Lee served on for several years, as well as the Conservation Advisory Committee. They're very important committees. We do hope that all of our residents get involved in these committees because your input is not only wanted but needed. There's not a lot going on, fortunately, because it's the winter time. We're gearing up for the next building season. The Holocaust Memorial, just a reminder to the public that the applicant did request to move that item until June of 2019, so they can build a consensus on that project, and hopefully they'll be able to do that. The Knott Street Co-op area grant, we heard from a couple people today, that is moving forward. We are continuing to gather input from local businesses and residents, and we want to continue have you folks continue to provide input. We are also working at Mohawk Commons. The planning board has a couple of new tenants there and recently approved a new tenant in ShopRite Plaza, Karma Bistro, which is an interesting combination of ice cream and poke bowls. So hopefully everyone will enjoy their holidays, and we will see you on January 4th in the Schaefer Room. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman McGrath?
Thank you very much. Well, first and foremost, my mom is here, so thank you, all of you who pointed out all my achievements this month. I really appreciate that. I'm sure my mom loved hearing all about it. And for those of you who do not know, I chair both the Water and Sewer Committee and the Highway and Public Facilities Committees. And as I always say, it's a very busy time of year, and as anybody could probably guess, when we have snowstorms before all the leaves are done falling, it is made for a very interesting late fall, early winter. Ray Smith and his team have done their best. Bill, thank you very much for coming out to point that out. They're doing their best, and they're going to continue to go through the town. We have been saying for the last couple of weeks, I'm glad Bill heard that, if you can bag or can your leaves and your waste, it makes it much easier, because we just can't predict. If we get 2 feet of snow tomorrow, we're not going to be able to pick up the piles. So we're just, Ray and his team are out there all day, every day, weekends, nights. They've really been killing themselves to get this done. But for those of us who, if you can, get them in cans and bags, it will really help the whole process. Water and sewer, we're adding a new wastewater treatment plant operator tonight. This has been a journey for us to find the right person. It's a very difficult job. It's an intricate job, and we're really thrilled to find the right person for that. I'm very happy. There's a few new, despite the weather, water mains going in around town. On Winnie, on Seneca, over on Cary Court. So that work continues to go no matter how cold it is out. And one resolution that we are going to do tonight that I'm just really happy about, we've got to do some asbestos removal to take down the old water and sewer garage over in Blatnick Park. Once we do that, we'll be able to take down that garage and really make that more of a park area. So that's something we've been working on for a couple of years, and it continues to move on. And then finally tonight, we are going to accept the water and sewer employees, their contract for the next 5 years, which is really an accomplishment. I want to thank Paul Briggs from the Attorney's Office, who came in and has taken on a new job for all of us, being a contract negotiator. He did a great job on our police contract, and we rewarded him by letting him turn right around and nail down the water and sewer employees. I know there were some things in the paper, but those folks got 1 year of a 2.25% raise, and then the subsequent 4 years, 2% raises. They're a very valuable team. I think anybody who's entrusted with the safety of our water really deserves all the best for our community. Oh, I was thinking Spencer was running up to me to stop me. And we really do appreciate that. So that's one of the things that we are going to do tonight. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Councilman McPartlin?
Thank you, Supervisor. Town Police and Public Safety Committee. Operationally, we have some surplus vehicles that have a resolution tonight. These are vehicles that are impounded by the police department that will be sold. As some people may have known or read in the paper, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we had a DWI checkpoint. This is one of the first in Niskiuna on Union Street. I want to thank the state police for assisting our officers in that. There were 27 violations and 2 DWIs that came out of that. So I want to thank everyone that participated in that, and we also got some additional funding from NCAP for that particular patrol. Training-wise, I want to thank Officer Bethany McGuire. She's been assisting down at Zone 5 Academy with the training of new officers. Citizen issues, Dean Street, the deputy supervisor is still working on our weight limit signs and our weight limit restrictions for Dean Street. We had at Fernwood and Pine Haven, a resident came in to discuss traffic in that area and stop signs. There was a volume and speed study done in the area, and the chief's going to follow up with that residence as far as what the outcome of that is. I can share with you the average speed in that area, 20 miles per hour, and the 80th percentile is 30. So oftentimes we think that vehicles are traveling very fast on our streets because when we're standing there 30 miles an hour it does seem fast, but that's why we have the equipment and we have our officers out there to really patrol the area, make sure that we aren't having a speed issue in certain areas. We also discussed some signage at the end of Whitmire Drive. This is weight limit restrictions to keep vehicles that are going into our treatment plant from turning left because there is no way for them to get out of the town that way and be legal as far as weight restrictions are concerned. Town code. I know I said this at the last meeting, but it's winter parking rules, winter parking rules. I've gotten many calls, maybe some of my other board members have gotten it from town residents because they get a ticket on their vehicle because it's parked overnight. Winter parking rules, no parking on the streets 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. And often people say, but it's not snowing, it didn't snow. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not so sure the weatherman is always correct. I know a lot of times they don't get it right, so that's why it's just 3 a.m., 6 a.m., no overnight parking. So during the holiday season, please tell your guests, relatives, or whatever. Those are the rules. Court issues, no real court issues to report. We've got our new tickets. We had to get our traffic violation tickets reprinted. We are using them now, and we're working with the court to iron out a few little wrinkles with those. The school district held a second forum on strategies for safety at the school district, and the deputy chief was at that particular meeting. Personnel-wise, Patrolman Lucy is now a full-time officer for us, and we have one recruit in the academy, Recruit Walter, and that particular recruit is going to be coming for their in-service here at the town January, actually, I'm sorry, is there now and should be graduating January 16th. Our next meeting is January 8th at 8 a.m. here at Town Hall in the Schaefer Room. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. I'm going to move on to the supervisor's report. I'll try to keep it brief because we do have a lot to get to. I do want to reiterate what Councilwoman Weber said regarding our annual holiday tree lighting ceremony. It really was such a fun, festive, and very special evening. Thank you to the Highway Department for getting everything ready, so beautifully decorated. Thank you to First New York Federal Credit Union. They donated the cookies and the hot chocolate that everyone got to enjoy there. There were hundreds of people who attended. I was even surprised by the turnout. So it was just a lot of fun. We sang carols. The Niskiuna High School Choir was excellent. And I want to thank Councilwoman Weber, Councilman McPartland, Town Clerk Michelle Martinelli for joining me. Thank you for coming out despite the cold. And I also want to thank State Senator Jim Tedisco. He also met up with us that night as well. So he had a good time as well. And my family joined me, so that was a first. They usually don't come to things, and I don't know why, but they did. I kind of forced them, but that's all right. And moving on, I am pleased to announce that we are upfitting the video equipment here in the town boardroom. This is going to allow us to live stream our meetings, so it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to see how that goes. We'll probably be working through some of the kinks over the next couple weeks, but we're hoping to roll that out in the new year. So it's going to be new year, new initiative. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully Facebook live streaming, and that's exciting. Also, coming in the new year, I will be delivering a State of the Town address to discuss our 2019 goals and new initiatives. I'll be giving a year in review for 2018 fiscal year. So look forward to that. That announcement will be coming soon. We are working on scheduling that. Just for general bookkeeping, we're winding down the year, so we're getting our annual update documents and various fiscal documents in order. We'll be submitting those in a timely fashion. And now for the thank yous. I would like to thank our Superintendent Ray Smith and the Highway Department for their relentless work getting the leaves up this year. They couldn't start earlier due to the weather, but despite that, they were out there every day on weekends, working so hard. So thank you for your leadership, and thank you to your entire team. I just can't believe how hard you guys work. And particularly, I want to thank Mr. John Jackson. He works in our Water and Sewer Department. I don't think he can make it here tonight, but Matt, please let him know that we've publicly thanked him. I got a letter from Congregation Agudat Achim, the synagogue on Route 7. Over the course of months, they were having issues with water leakage, just various issues, and John Jackson went over there diligently, found out what the problem was, made continuous suggestions. They ended up working. They were so grateful. And we are so grateful to him to have someone who is so considerate and diligent on our staff is such a wonderful thing. So thank you, Mr. John Jackson. And with that, I will conclude the supervisor's report. We are going to roll right into our resolutions. We are going to begin with Resolution 2018-310, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution establishing the dates for the meeting of the town board for 2019.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? And I just want to note for the audience, we have a revised version in our packets of the meeting dates. And there were just two changes that we had to make to accommodate for Yom Kippur Eve. And so we usually have our agenda meetings on Tuesdays. This agenda meeting will be held on that Thursday, so it'll be October 10th. It was slightly different in the packet. We had it marked as a September date. September dates will all be on Tuesdays. Just that one October date will be on a Thursday. And in addition, a November date will be on a Thursday as well to accommodate for Election Day. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-311, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to make certain budgetary modifications.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-312, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the supervisor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement for shared services with the County of Schenectady.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw. Councilwoman McGraw. Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-313, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to adopt revisions to the employee handbook.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-314, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the purchase of a filing system for use by the town clerk.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-315, sponsored by Councilman McPartlin. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the surplus and sale of certain town vehicles.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-316, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the purchase of chemicals to be used by the town of Niskiuna in its public works operations during 2019.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-317, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a senior wastewater treatment plant operator.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion?
No, he's not here, so we're good.
Yeah. It's been a long road trying to find someone. We're so happy that we did.
Thank you, Matt
Yes.
Gatto.
Tell him we thank him. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-318, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to accept bids for the purchase of various materials to be used by the town of Niskiuna in its public works operations during 2019.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-319, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the supervisor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with Fulton County.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-320, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the repair of highway equipment.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-321, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the supervisor to enter into a licensing agreement with the Niskiuna Youth Soccer Club.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to thank Paul Sebesta, who was very involved in this, Ray Smith, who really, he's going to be our next contract negotiator. He did such a great job in this meeting. This was an issue, I think, that was very important to all of us. And obviously, the Niskiuna Soccer Club serves so many children in this community, and we have a very collaborative relationship with them for the soccer fields up at Zanner Park. Their licensing agreement, after 20 years, had come to an end this year, and it's sort of, we really weren't able to pull it together into the last few weeks. We had an excellent meeting with Mike Parzik from their team, and we were just able in one meeting to be able to put all the remaining issues to bed. The revenue from this is important revenue to our budget. but also having good stewards of the land up there and good partners up there is equally as important. So I think that this was a real win-win for everyone, and I just want to thank everybody who was involved in it.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yes, just briefly, it is important to have these partnerships, and it's great that the soccer club was able to come together and continue to use that land in a productive way. And I do have to thank Ms. Murphy McGraw. I know that she put a lot of effort into the negotiations in this. I attended one meeting. I know there was at least one more where several details had to be ironed out. And without the type of work and input from not only Ms. McGraw, but from Ray Smith and from other members of the Highway Committee and the Parks Department, I don't think that we would have been able to get this together in time for the budget, and that would have created a big problem. So I do want to thank all involved.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Again, I'd like to also thank Councilwoman McGraw and her committee for doing the important work of getting this license agreement settled so that the Niskayuna Youth Soccer Club can renew and continue to use our field. These relationships we have with our community groups are essential. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-322, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the CSEA Water and Sewer Unit.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment about this particular resolution. It was reported in the newspaper early on that this contract was going to be a 2% increase in wages. And after some involvement by Councilwoman McGraw and Paul Briggs, our attorney, that, you know, we need to have parity and fairness in our contracts here in the town, and got some things straightened out in this particular agreement, and got that to 2.25, which is the same that we have with our other unions. So I want to thank them for taking care of that and making this a fair contract.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I just want to thank Matt Yetto. I think this was a very important contract. It was Matt's first contract as the superintendent, and it's a long-term contract. It allows us to plan for the future. 5 years is almost unheard of in these kinds of contracts. So Matt, thank you very much, and I'm just really pleased that this is the way you're going to start your tenure around here.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Before calling the roll, I would like to add that this was a very quick negotiation process. We did it in 4 meetings. So I do want to thank Paul Briggs for your leadership on this and negotiating, and also Matt for your leadership as well. The CSEA members commented about how much they enjoyed working with the two of you. So if it were not for the two of you, I don't think it would have gone as smoothly as it did. I would also like to thank Councilwoman McGraw for your input. And I think that this is a very fair 5-year contract. I'm very pleased with it. And with that being said, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-323, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to accept bids for the purchase of various materials to be used by the town of Niskayuna in its highway operations during 2019.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-324, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution approving and authorizing the supervisor to enter into a natural gas supply agreement for natural gas with Direct Energy Incorporation with Municipal Electric and Gas Allied Incorporated Mega and pursuant to Genesee County bid award and contract.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Earlier this year, we did the electric contract. This is the gas agreement. We've realized great savings through this, and Paul Sebesta deserves all the accolades for making sure that we move forward on these contracts, especially while we're looking at other ways to heat and cool the community in terms of solar and other things. So, Paul, thank you for keeping us moving along with Mega.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yes, this is what we're doing for now, but we are looking at other options that may be more environmentally friendly, like, the consumer aggregate and, other alternatives. So we hope to continue down that road.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-325, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the town to renew its membership in the New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance Plan.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Yes,
Councilman
and Ray Smith, will you go to the door and let Jeff Wilkins in?
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Should we all clap for him when he
Yeah,
comes to the door?
exactly. Boo, because he does some really great speeches.
Next resolution, 2018-326, sponsored by Councilman McPartlin. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a person as a part-time dog warden.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-327, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the supervisor to enter into a memorandum of agreement with General Electric International Incorporated relating to Schenectady County Solar Energy Consortium.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
So I know there was a lot going on with this that Rob Hess had worked on. Denise, you were involved in this. John, you were involved in it, supervisor. Thank you all for your time. Laura, I know you and I spent some time going over this also to try to understand what's going on here. But as Councilwoman Weber said, we're trying to, pursue green energy, and also this particular contract or memorandum with the county, they're also attempting to pursue solar and green energy. So I want to thank everyone for their involvement in this.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
It has been a cooperative effort. I believe we have at least 10 acres, and there's another site that we're looking at as well. So the hope is that not only will we be able to have good, useful green energy, but also save our residents significantly on their energy bill.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any further discussion? And I do want to echo what Councilman McPartlin and Councilman Delarada said. I want to thank Councilwoman McGraw for her work on this. She was able to have the county agreed to committing to pollinator gardens. They will be planted under any of the panels. That's work that she began here in Town Hall. It's very important, something her daughter was very integral in. So they're going to be continuing that. The county has agreed, so that's a great thing. And this is a big cooperative with the county amongst all of the municipalities here in Schenectady. So it's not just Town of Niskuna, it's Town of Glenville, Dwaynesburg, Princetown, the city, and the county. And this really should actualize a lot of energy cost savings, not just for us as a town operationally, but also potentially for the residents who live here as well. So this is a great project. We are happy to cooperate with the county on it. And is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-328, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution regarding the nomination of a project for the State and Municipal Facilities Grant Program.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion?
Yes, I want to thank Assemblyman Steck for securing this grant for Niskayuna to make improvements to River Road Park and to improve the drainage for our softball fields. One of our softball fields spends a lot of time underwater because of the placement of it on kind of on the bottom of a hill, and the other couple of fields don't drain particularly well either. So we have a grant, and we're going to be asked to put some more money towards it. We have, only a few pictures of what it's going to look like, and I want to thank you for sending me a higher resolution photo this afternoon after I had asked for one. Going forward, I'd love to see the community involved more in seeing what this park's going to look like when it's done. We have hundreds of neighbors in the Rosendale Estates and Parkville area who use the park daily. Their kids ride their bikes through it and walk to go to school. We run our playground camps there, so I really like to get public input on what the park's going to look like, and public awareness of what the plans are going forward. But I'm very happy that we're passing this to accept these monies from Assemblyman Steck. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'd like to echo what Councilwoman Weber said. We're incredibly grateful to Assemblyman Steck for this very generous grant that he has offered. As a female supervisor and a former female athlete, I am incredibly happy that this money will be going towards improving the softball fields over in River Road Park. Like Lisa said, some of them were completely underwater. It was preventing the course of play. They were only ever using really 2 of the fields. And I don't think that was the intent of that park. I think all 4 fields should be used. I think everyone should be enjoying it. And we're also going to balance the softball needs with just overall beautification in the park, potentially bringing in a beautiful new pavilion. And thank you to Laura Robertson for sourcing some of those pavilions. They look incredible, and I think that many of the residents who use that park are going to be very pleased with the changes that are planned. I also agree. I think we need to hold forums, really get a lot of public input. If residents are going to be enjoying this park, we do want to hear from them, make sure that we are balancing what we think we need with what they know that we need. So with that said, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-329, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into a contract for the renewal of workers' compensation administration services.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-330, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into a contract for professional services for a street tree master plan.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Supervisor, I'm going to table this resolution. We need to discuss it in one of the other committees that we haven't had a chance to yet, so hopefully we can bring this back on in January.
Sure. Are you making a motion to table?
Certainly.
Okay, I will second that. The clerk could please call the roll on the motion to table?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes to table this resolution.
Okay, thank you. Next resolution, 2018-331, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to approve the 2019 salary schedule.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'm going to second this, and then I'm also going to make a motion to table this until maybe later this evening.
Okay. On the motion to table, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to table?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes to table.
Okay. Next resolution, 2018-332, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to amend certain fees opposed by the town of Niskiuna.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
This is actually laying out a decision that was made in the budget. These were fees that needed to be addressed. I want to thank everybody who was involved in really laying out the individual fees. I think our goal was to keep them certainly within reason, but it just was something that needed to be tweaked, and we had addressed the more formal nature of all of it in the budget, and this was the individual breakout for it. So I want to thank the supervisor, I want to thank the chief, the deputy chief, and of course Paul Sebesta for pulling this all together for us.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-333, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize a stipend for the town comptroller.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'm going to second this and then make a motion that this be tabled.
Okay. On the motion to table, can I get a second?
I'll second that. I believe we just need to discuss some of these in an executive session.
Sure. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to table?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes to table.
Okay. Next resolution, 2018-334, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution awarding a contract for asbestos removal.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-335, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution awarding a contract for air quality monitoring and testing.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2018-336, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to set a salary for the Deputy Receiver of Taxes.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm going to make a
No,
motion.
this is just changing. This is fine.
This is all right?
Yep.
Okay, well,
We're moving Lois to full-time. This is
all right, I
that
just
we
want to
had
say
talked about.
something then.
Okay.
To the department heads and the legal department, supervisor's office, we've been getting too many of these resolutions late. It's, you know, we want to get as much of this done by Friday so that the board members have time to look at all the resolutions thoroughly. It seems like now, the Monday and Tuesday or before the meetings, my email box is blowing up with emails and revised resolutions and changes, and we were doing okay for a while, but it seems like we're back to a lot of last-minute stuff, so we need to try to work to get that to a minimum.
Any further discussion? And I agree, Councilman. It was a rare circumstance on this one, so. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman Partlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. That concludes the resolutions. I'm now going to make a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to New York Public Officers Law, Section 105, subsection F. Can I get a second on that motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion for executive session?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
Okay, we're now entering into executive session. We are all actually going to adjourn ourselves, head upstairs. Not going to adjourn the meeting, so if you'd like to wait, we might reconvene as a town board. So you're welcome to just sit and wait. We're going to head upstairs, and we'll possibly head back. But I will adjourn the meeting if we're not going to take any further action on anything.
No, we're just going to let it roll and then, yep, we'll amend it. We will amend it. There you go.
Oh, yeah, we were all eating.
There we, oh, cookies. Never found cookies. You could have eaten their gifts here. Okay.
All right. So I'm going to make a motion for Resolution 2018-331, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to approve the 2019 salary schedule.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
This represents a tremendous amount of work. I think everyone knows who followed the budget negotiations. We would have liked to have done more for everyone, but it does represent a 2.25 rate increase. I think one of our big goals through all of this was to be able to bring greater parity to some of the part-time folks around here in the clerk's office and the courts and everywhere else. Those are folks that might not have been recognized as best we could over the last few years, and that was our goal as it related to this, and in keeping with a balanced budget. So I want to thank everyone, especially Paul Sebesta, for trying to pull this all together following the budget process.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. We're not going to take any further action tonight, so I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. If I could have a second on that motion?
Second.
All those in favor signified by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? We are now adjourned. Thank you all for joining us here tonight. Happy holidays, Happy New Year. We'll see you again in January at the org meeting.
Thank you, Denise.